I still remember the first time Jessica handed me that soft blue dress. Just try it on, Alex. For the theater workshop, she said with a smile that could melt ice. You'd be perfect as Olivia in Twelfth Night. I stood in Jessica's bedroom, looking at my reflection in her full-length mirror. The afternoon sunlight streamed through her curtains, casting everything in a warm glow. My heartbeat quickened. I was 22 and had never worn a dress before. I don't know, I said. What if someone sees me? Jessica squeezed my shoulder gently. It's just us here. And honestly, the drama department needs you. Professor Williams is desperate for someone with your acting skills. Jessica and I had been friends since freshman year of college. We'd met in Introduction to Theater and bonded over our love of Shakespeare. Now in our senior year, we were inseparable. She knew things about me that I barely admitted to myself. Fine, I sighed, taking the dress. But this stays between us until I decide if I'm doing it. Jessica nodded, her eyes sparkling with excitement. Of course. I'll wait in the living room. When she left, I carefully removed my jeans and t-shirt. The dress was simple but beautiful, a deep midnight blue with small silver accents. I slipped it over my head, feeling the fabric cascade around my legs in a way that was completely foreign yet oddly comforting. I stared at my reflection. The dress actually fit well across my shoulders. Jessica had chosen wisely, picking something that complemented my lean frame. My short brown hair didn't quite match the look, but otherwise, I was surprised. I didn't look ridiculous at all. Can I come in? Jessica called from outside. Yeah, I answered. She entered and froze, her eyes widening. Alex, you look stupid, I offered, feeling suddenly vulnerable. Beautiful, she said firmly. You look beautiful. Something warm bloomed in my chest at her words. Not embarrassment, but something else. Something like recognition. Really? I asked, turning slowly to see different angles. Really? Here, she said, coming closer with a small makeup bag. Just a little touch to complete the effect? I hesitated only a moment before nodding. Okay. Jessica worked quietly, applying what she called just the basics, a light foundation, some blush, a touch of eyeshadow and mascara. Her fingers were gentle as they brushed against my face. I closed my eyes, feeling strangely at peace. There, she said finally. Look, I opened my eyes and barely recognized myself. The person in the mirror looked softer somehow, features highlighted in ways I'd never seen before. My eyes seemed bigger, more expressive. That's me, I whispered. Jessica stood beside me, her reflection next to mine in the mirror. That's you, Alex. What do you think? I couldn't find the words at first. I like it, I finally admitted, the truth of it surprising me. I really like it. You'd make an amazing Olivia, Jessica said, her voice gentle. And just so you know, Professor Williams is very supportive of gender-blind casting. It's all about who can best embody the character. I nodded, still transfixed by my reflection. For years, I'd felt like I was playing a role in my everyday life, always a bit uncomfortable, never quite fitting in. But here, paradoxically, in this dress and makeup, I felt more like myself than I ever had before. I'll do it, I said suddenly. I'll audition. Jessica hugged me, careful not to smudge my makeup. You're going to be wonderful. The following weeks were a whirlwind. I got the part of Olivia, and rehearsals began immediately. At first, I only wore the dress and makeup during practices, changing quickly before and after. But as time went on, I found myself lingering longer in costume, reluctant to return to my regular clothes. Professor Williams was incredibly supportive. Alex, your transformation into Olivia is remarkable, he told me after one rehearsal. You have a natural grace that many actresses struggle to find. His words stayed with me, echoing in my mind as I walked back to my apartment. Natural grace. Was it possible that what felt so right to me wasn't just acting? One Saturday morning, when my roommate was away for the weekend, I gathered my courage and texted Jessica. Can you come over? I want to try something. She arrived with a small suitcase. I brought options, she said with a grin. We spent the day experimenting with different outfits, skirts, blouses, even a sundress. Jessica showed me how to walk in low heels, how to sit properly, how to apply my own makeup. With each new skill, each new look, I felt more layers of discomfort falling away. "How do you feel?" Jessica asked as we sat on my bed, looking through photos we'd taken throughout the day. "Like I've been holding my breath my whole life," I said honestly. "And I'm finally learning how to breathe." She squeezed my hand. "You know, this doesn't have to be just for the play, right? This can be for you, if that's what you want." I leaned my head against her shoulder. "I think it might be. But I'm scared, Jessica. What will people say?" "Some people will be wonderful and some won't," she said matter-of-factly. "But the ones who matter will stay. I promise." The first time I wore a skirt to class was terrifying. I chose something simple, a knee-length black skirt paired with a burgundy sweater. Jessica had helped me pick it out, assuring me it was perfectly appropriate for a literature lecture. As I walked across campus, I felt eyes on me. Some curious, some confused, a few disapproving. But there were smiles too, and nods of encouragement. David, another theater major, fell into step beside me. "Love the outfit, Alex," he said casually. "The fall collection looks good on you." I laughed, tension easing from my shoulders. "Thanks, David. We still on for coffee after comparative lit?" he asked, as if nothing had changed. "Absolutely," I replied, gratitude washing over me. Throughout the day, reactions varied. A girl in my poetry workshop complimented my sweater. My ancient history professor didn't seem to notice anything different at all. A group of guys at the back of the dining hall whispered and laughed, but Jessica from my improv class loudly asked if she could sit with me, shooting them a glare that could have frozen fire. By evening, when I met Jessica for dinner, I was emotionally exhausted but exhilarated. "You did it," she said proudly. "How do you feel?" "Like I'm waking up," I told her, stirring my tea. "It's scary, but it's right." "Does that make sense?" She nodded. "Perfect sense." "There's something else," I said, my cheeks warming. "David asked me to go to the spring formal with him." Jessica's eyebrows shot up. "David from theater? And what did you say?" I said yes, I admitted. "Is that crazy?" "Not crazy at all," Jessica replied. The night of the formal arrived faster than I expected. Jessica came over early to help me get ready. We'd shopped together for a simple but elegant emerald green dress that brought out the hazel in my eyes. My hair had grown out a bit since I'd started this journey, and Jessica styled it softly around my face. "You're staring," she teased as I looked in the mirror. "I still can't believe that's me sometimes," I admitted. She stood behind me, hands on my shoulders. "Well, believe it. Because that's the real you, Alex. And you're radiant." The doorbell rang, and my stomach flipped. "He's here." Jessica squeezed my shoulders. "Deep breath. You've got this." I opened the door to find David standing there in a charcoal suit, holding a small corsage of white roses. "Wow," he said softly. "You look incredible." "Thank you," I replied, feeling a blush creep up my cheeks. "So do you." He carefully pinned the corsage to my dress, his fingers steady. "I've been wanting to ask you out since last semester," he admitted. "But I never had the courage until I saw how brave you've been." I looked up at him, surprised. "Me? Brave?" "Absolutely," he said earnestly. "Living authentically takes courage. It's inspiring." Jessica appeared behind me, camera in hand. "Picture time before you go." We posed together, David's arm gently around my waist. As the flash went off, I realized I was smiling, really smiling, without a trace of the discomfort that had followed me for so many years. At the formal, there were still a few whispers and stares. But David held my hand proudly as we entered, and my theater friends surrounded us with warmth and acceptance. We danced and laughed, and when David gently kissed my cheek at the end of a slow song, it felt right in a way nothing had before. "Thank you for tonight," I told him as we walked under the stars later. "Thank you for being you," he replied simply. "The real you." Looking back now, I see that night as the real beginning of my journey. Not the first time I tried on a dress or performed on stage, or even walked to class in clothes that finally felt like mine. But that night, surrounded by friends who saw me, truly saw me, and standing beside someone who admired my courage rather than questioning my choices. I'm still figuring things out, taking each day as it comes. There are hard moments, difficult conversations, days when I question everything. But then I catch my reflection in a window, in Jessica's eyes, in David's smile, and I recognize myself in a way I never did before. And I know whatever path lies ahead, I'm finally walking it as the person I was always meant to be.